Hello and welcome back to another installment of Poke Fodder, and we are back. Man, between the holidays and then the weekend, I feel like I haven't done a video in forever, and I probably haven't done a video. It's been a solid 5 days. I think the last video I did was on Wednesday, and that wasn't even Pokemon Duel. That was Sonic, which I hope that you were able to check out, and maybe in some of your free time, maybe you picked up playing a little bit of Sonic. I know that the Discord for Sonic has gained in subscribers, and happy to see that. But this isn't a Sonic video. This is Pokemon Duel. And what I want to talk about today is in my opinion, the best Pokemon that nobody outside of maybe people who are new to the game are using. Druddigon. And I can probably only say this Pokemon's name correctly one time, maybe twice. It's Druddigon. And for the rest of this video, whenever I get stuck on exactly how to pronounce this Pokemon, I'm just going to say this guy. Druddigon. Let's look at what makes Druddigon so good, in my opinion. Now, what I'm going to preface all this by saying is that yes, I have invested into this Pokemon, but it's only a rare, which means it only costs 50 Carmonite to level up for each level, and it's only like 151,000 gold to level it all the way from level 1 to level 5. So it's relatively inexpensive to power up. Now, the reason why I like this Pokemon, and I really do think that this is a great budget Pokemon if you are free to play or nearly free to play, or if you're just starting out. What I like about this Pokemon is that at level 9, it does only have the 4 myths. It starts with 12, just know that. It has Revenge. Well, first of all, we'll get into his wheel in just a second. It's the ability of this Pokemon in the current meta that makes this Pokemon shine. The ability is Mold Breaker. This Pokemon negates abilities that boost or lower attack damage on your opponent. Now, if we think about this, the meta right now is Lunala and Tapu Koko. I mean, am I right? That is, if we go look at the feature duels, and let's just do this. Let's go look at the feature duels real quick. It is in the 10 o'clock hour in California. If we look, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 combined Lunalas and Tapu Kokos currently in the feature duels. It is the meta. Now, what makes those Pokemon so good? Well, if you're Lunala, it's because you have the damage of your attacking opponent. And if you're Koko, when you're attacking into your opponent, you are going to get a plus 30 boost. What Mold Breaker does is it says, no, not today, Lunala, not today, Koko. And it gives them the old heave-ho and says, I'm going to hit for my normal damage. Now, if a Zapdos or a Raikou attack into this Pokemon, they're still going to get their plus 30. So this only pertains to Koko and Lunala. But with so many of them running wild, you can find a way to match up against either the Lunala or the Koko fairly easily. It's got the 4 myths at level 9, like I mentioned. Half the wheel is going... I made half the wheel this Revenge move. So on mine, it's a 48 wheel slice. I believe it's 40 on a base level. This Pokemon's damage is boosted by the number of Pokemon in your PC plus 20. So while at its base form it's hitting for 70, you get one Pokemon in your PC, and now you're hitting for 90, and you get a second Pokemon in your PC, think in the late game, now you're hitting for 110, and a 110 attacker is not a bad attacker. We have a 12 dodge, okay, and then we have this 32 wheel slice of Dragon Tail. Benches your battle opponent except when opponent has fainted. Your battle opponent must then wait. So what happens is, if I roll my off attack, my alternate attack of Dragon Tail 50, which is not all that strong, but it's decent, and I get knocked out, well, guess what? My opponent is going back to the bench. That makes this Pokemon really nice and really difficult to attack into. And that is why I like this Pokemon. So with the 5 chain levels that I have put into this, and I did use cubes to do it, in the late game, when it is 4-on-4, this Pokemon is hitting for 115 and 50, and the 50 will bench you if I lose, and it's going to negate Lunala's advantage over it, and it's going to negate Coco's advantage over it, because Coco is only going to hit for 69, which is going to lose to Revenge, or 30, which is going to lose everything on this wheel other than Miss. I really like this Pokemon. That's why I put in the resources. Now, for those of you who say, yeah, but can it win? The answer is yes. This deck can win. And in fact, I've actually changed, the deck you see here is not the deck that I was running in League. I actually had Pancham into Pangoro, because Pangoro actually has the same Mold Breaker ability, and Pancham is relatively easy to evolve, and it's a second runner. And I do want to show you a match that I happen to record that I feel like gives a good representation of what is possible with this deck. We are coming into month's end. I'm barely hanging on to the top 100. I'm not going to push to try to make top 100, but if it so happens, then I'm not going to give away wins. How about that? I'm just going to play normal, and if I make top 100, that's great. If I don't make top 100, well, there's always next month. And while I was gone, we had a team event. And let me just say, I'm going to preface this. I took Team Rowlett because I thought it would be the most popular, and it was. But I feel like they've done a nice job of balancing out the point system. Yes, the most popular Team Rowlett did win first place. But unlike before, where Charizard, the first team event was Charizard, and it was over from the beginning. This one, what they've done is they increase the enhancer points, the level of the enhancer points for the teams that are in second and third place, and then give them extra enhancers along the way. So that's 3 times. So they'll get additional enhancers for 3 times. Very, very nice. Keeps it pretty competitive. If we look, you know, it looks like 4.5 million was the difference. So like, what was that, 10%? A 10% difference, which is a far cry from the like 80% difference that there was between first and last place of the original. And I did have one of the best 4-day runs that I've ever had in Pokemon Duel. If we look, I went 33-5, and for full disclosure, one of my losses was an AI loss. I was in the middle of the game, then I got distracted and entered into a conversation, so I couldn't focus on the game anymore. I just put on AI. When I came back, I had lost. Nonetheless, I went 33-5, which is great. Not complaining about that at all. For the team ranking, I finished 16th, and I lost my next to last game going into the end of this. That kept me from going over 2,000. A little sad about that, but it happens. And if we look at the overall rankings, finished 27. Definitely not complaining about any of that. It was an amazing run that I had, and I don't think that I will be able to replicate a run like that anytime in the near future. But I do want to show you a video, and I will do some commentary over it. I don't remember everything about the video, but I believe it shows off the deck nicely. Now, I will go into quickly kind of the makeup of the deck. Obviously, Leo is Leo. He's a wide attacker. He's a phenomenal goalie. I reallocated Leo's wheel. I had it 50-50 between the 120 and the 100 attack. I actually went back and changed it to give the 100 attack the more emphasis. The reason being is since I'm going to be using it primarily as a goalie, if I lose the roll, I want the opponent to get knocked out with me. And that was the theory behind that. Also, if I do happen to get a status, it reduces the size of the status. Deoxys A wasn't in the deck originally. I said it was Pancham to Pangoro, and I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure that I do trigger that evolution, so you will be able to see that. I have put Deoxys A in here, and as you can see, I have put some Carmonite into it, and I'll tell you why. In my Nebby deck, which is no longer really a Nebby deck at this point since I have taken Cosmog out, but with the Skirt Birdie, so Oricorio Pau style, DOA hits really hard. It is now, and has been for a long time, one of the, if not the premier attacker. And I just have gotten to the point where nobody runs Tropical anymore. A handful of people. When I say nobody, I really just mean a handful. And yeah, the slip is bad, and it can come at some really crucial times, but it's better than being knocked out most of the time. But the ability to respin your opponent is just too good to pass up. So I've started incorporating this into my deck a little bit. Lunala, you know the story behind Lunala. Suicune is here because Suicune is a fabulous, fabulous goalie, a great tech piece. And what Suicune's role in this deck is, it stays on the bench, pretty much the last one that's going to come off of my bench, and it's there to clear status off of Leo and or Lunala, and I am carrying a Scoop Up, which will allow me to bring Suicune out, and then if I need to redo to clear status, I have that option. And when I was running Pangoro in this, Pangoro's alternate attack is Ice Punch or Ice Fang or Ice something, which will freeze my opponent if I lose my alternate attack, which sets up Suicune for a possible banish, and then Coco as my runner because it is a Coco Lunala meta. Okay, so as you can see, my opponent we were both 3200 at the time. I didn't think I recorded this that long ago. But there's the deck. And my opponent is 3200, so we're about the same. And I'm sure that I open with Coco. Just take Coco to the back line. Pretty standard opening move. My opponent's running Magikarp, which I haven't seen in a hot minute. I take Pancham out to the middle. And he brings Deoxys attack form down. I didn't look to see what Deoxys attack form's C levels were, but I imagine I put Lunala there because I've got him covered. The Rubber Chicken is such a tough matchup. Being 3 stars for its purple as a rare is, I mean, a couple double chances and it's almost always going to trigger the evolution. That makes it just absolutely ridiculous. And okay, so my opponent has Recycle, and I remember thinking that I was going to use up my plates. Oh, Lunala. I wanted to use up my plates because he had Recycle, so I could get them back again. Lunala, like that. Obviously, I lose this, but he respins me, and I'll tell you why he respun me. Because I can't... Pancham doesn't get knocked out if you roll his spinning move twice, and then it evolves if you do it 3 times. So that's why he re-rolled me there. Another thing I like about Pancham. And he's definitely going to re-roll me here. And we continue with the victory. As you saw, I was running 2 max revives with this deck, which kind of goes against Druid. Druddigon. I don't know why I can't remember how to say that. But the Pokemon that I'm highlighting, it kind of goes against him and the ability where he gets a damage buff for Pokemon in the PC. But it's okay. I like being able, with this specific deck, I like being able to bring Pokemon back out onto the field. That was a really bad play by my opponent because his Deoxys attack, unless I roll my miss, has no way of knocking out Lunala. And when he brought out the his Deoxys attack and put it in front of Lunala, you had to know that I was just going to go straight for it and attack it. Probably not the best play for my opponent, and of course, Cyclone Kick. Druddigon. Druddigon. And there's the next evolution. I really think that you can do a rare deck. And maybe at the beginning of December I will explore what kind of a rare or rarer under type deck will or would work. But I feel like there is the possibility to have a no EX deck. How about that? Revenge 95. Only got the 10 damage boost off of the PC. Really, really fortunate. I didn't remember that, but that is... That works all the time. It's kind of funny that I wanted to show this deck because of the Mold Breaker. Now that I'm looking at my opponent, it doesn't have a Lunala, nor does it have a Tapu Koko in it. But I think it still shows that the deck is viable even at higher ranks. If I'm not mistaken, his Zapdos was 105. And that's why I didn't go up and attack, whereas Sceptile was 101, which is why I chose to attack there. I like triggering, making my opponent trigger their Magikarp/Gyarados evolution, especially when it's on goal, because the reason why it's on goal is I want to keep it there for late game, where it makes it more difficult to attack the goalie. And by triggering the evolution where I was in no danger of getting surrounded or anything, it actually works out in my benefit, I believe, because now they don't have that extra, I don't have to kill the goalie twice, if that makes sense. Now what I wanted to do here, and I remember thinking this, is I wanted to figure out a way to get Pangoro down near my goal, since Suicune can benefit off of Pangoro's ice move. But I also remember not really ever having an opportunity where I felt like now is a good time, or I couldn't figure out how to get Pangoro down without giving up position. So I don't think Pangoro ever makes it down. Get the nice little knockout with the Moongeist. See, that's what I was looking at there. I was looking at my plates to see what do I want to do here. How do I want? Can I get the Pangoro down? Scoop Up would have been my only option, but I didn't want to give up the entry point. Again, I don't fear his Deoxys attack form at all. And I might have taken out Empoleon just because I know, never mind. I would have taken out Empoleon there because Empoleon has a gold that can actually beat me, but Deoxys attack form doesn't. I love X speed with Lunala. It helps. Sableye might be the biggest counter to Lunala, and if I can run an X speed into a Sableye, it at least gives me a chance to pull off the nice the KO. I don't remember what happens here. Okay. So we were fortunate enough not to roll into Ice Beam. There we go. The recycle plate really didn't work out well for my opponent. I don't think that this move works out for me either, looking back on it. Yeah. That was unfortunate there. But he gave me... Basically, he did that to get his recycle, but he gave me 2 more recycles to bring out my Pokemon. So you can see in this one I had my Solgaleo at 50-50 on the 120 and the 100 attack. And with him rolling Roost, that is going to allow me, that's going to force him to move his Gyarados, or I think he goes Max Revive with Empoleon. But it's going to allow me to surround his Zapdos with Tapu Koko off of a Max Revive. And I believe after this, my opponent is going to do a switch out Empoleon for Sceptile, I believe. Which is a good play. Like, it's kind of the only play he has. And then he can... I don't know why he didn't bring out Empoleon. Oh, because I could have surrounded. So yeah, he made the right play. It brings out Empoleon. And I just go for it. I don't fear getting iced here. Because if I get iced, his Pokemon is gone. Really my only bad roll would have been Miss. This is great. Okay, now I know how this ends. Watch this. This is so nice. I lose the roll. But because he rolled Hyper Beam, that's going to make it my turn again. And I move in and take the goal. So I know that the Pokemon I was showing off didn't really play a role in this, in that specific match, but between it and Pancham, Pangoro, they together played a role, if that makes sense. So the point of the whole video was to actually show that you can actually run different type Pokemon. And what I will do, and let me finish that thought, and be competitive in league play, no matter which league play you're in. And what I like to do is I like to look through some of the forgotten Pokemon in the Pokédex and kind of see, is there something that maybe I have missed, or was there a Pokemon released that has an ability that people have forgotten about that is actually now relevant in the meta? And I really believe that between this Pokemon and the Pangoro, but I wouldn't run Pangoro without the evolution line, but I believe that their Mold Breaker makes them very viable Pokemon in this meta. You are going to need to put some resources into it, but because they're both rare, and in Pancham's case, it's an uncommon, it's not expensive to put resources into them and make them really good competitive Pokemon. So that is going to wrap up today's video. I hope that this kind of inspires you a little bit to look at Pokemon that maybe don't get as much love as they should. And man, it's good to be back. We are back to regular scheduled release videos, so be looking for more videos throughout the week. I do expect a new banner to drop on December 1st. I do expect it to be water. I do expect it to have Tapu Fini in it. And that's all that I have for expectations. Until next time.